Okay, the question said, why do we have to less debit amounts from the credit balances? And again, is it necessary to prepare the bank reconciliation statement after every month or a year? I said when I started, the balance on the bank statement must be the same with the balance on the general ledger bank account. If these balances are not the same, then it is necessary and it's a must that you must prepare the bank reconciliation so that you bring these amounts closer together. And why are we saying it is necessary? Some of the things, let's say the deposit. Someone deposits the amount. You are aware that the person has deposited that. You record that in your cash receipt journal. But unfortunately, when the deposit reaches the bank reconciliation, the bank statement has already been prepared. It means that deposit will only be reflected in the cash receipt journal, but not in the bank statement. Therefore, you must reconcile. You must take that outstanding deposit. It must be reflected in the bank reconciliation statement that I received this amount, although it is not yet there in the bank statement, but this amount has been received. But if you don't do that, it means you are going to operate on two different balances. The bank statement will say you have this much. Your general ledger will say I have this much. Therefore, it is necessary that you prepare the bank reconciliation so that the amounts agree. Now, why do we have to less the debit amount from the credit balances? It is not the issue of lessing the debit from the credit. I said we looked at the bigger side. After preparing our bank reconciliation statement, we realized that the credit side is the bigger side. Remember, we didn't have this balance. We didn't have the balance as per bank account. Therefore, we said the 40,092 as per bank statement, we added the credit side of the outstanding deposit. We said 40,092 plus 12,700, it gave us 52,792. Then we take the bigger side. We closed it off with the bigger balance of 52,792. Then we said this amount, subtract the figures on the debit balance. Then the difference, the balancing figure, will be the balance as per bank account. I said if you don't want to do this, you can go the general ledger route. You are not going to subtract anything. You just say as per bank balance. Balance was 30,700. My total receipts are 521,802. The total payments are 518,210. You added the bigger side, which is the credit side, the debit side in this matter. The debit side is 552,502. You close it off on the credit side, 552,502. You subtracted the total payments of 518,210. Then the difference was 34,292. It's your balance carried down. And because you have carried it down, you must also bring it down on the opposite side. That is the debit side. This 34,292. Then I said the shorter method will be, once you have your balance as per bank statement, you have your credit, outstanding deposit, you have also inserted your outstanding checks, 613, check 652, and check 655. You look at this side, the bigger one. To me, and as per calculations, the bigger side is the credit balance side with 52,792. You take the bigger side, you subtract what is on the debit side. The balancing figure or the difference between these two sides will reflect the balance as per bank statement. Therefore, if your amount from the bank statement and the bank records are not from the general ledger and the bank records are not agreeing, yes, indeed, you must reconcile them. Now let us go back to the internal control procedures. We said just one person is issuing checks, is preparing the statement, is also making deposit. These errors or fraud in information number 4 where deposits were not yet reflected, and these amounts cannot be accounted for. And information number 8, where people are forging signatures, are bound to happen if duties are not separated in the business. What do we do? Separation of duties. One person do this. Tello will prepare the statements. Mesna Mlele will deal with the will deal with the deposits. They will maybe will issue the checks. One, so that accountability can be there. All of you cannot agree in fraud in the business or doing fraud in the business. One person will alert the business person or will be able to aware that something is not right here. But if all these powers rest with one individual, these mistakes in information number 4 and information number 8 are bound to happen. Now let us look at some of the internal control questions that were posed in the 2010 November. Refer to information 4 and 8 below. We are now being referred to the very same information that I was just talking about. Remember information number 8, it is information number 8, it is where the 30,000 is not reflected, that is reflected in the deposit slip, was never deposited. Then information number 8, it is where the signature was forged on the 18,000 that appeared on the bank statement, but that 18,000 is not on our cash payments channel. Now those two information referring to them, it appears that top dog traders will not be able to recover all the amounts or part of the amount. These amounts were lost due to the fraudulent activities of Joe. If you are the owner of this business, what steps will you take against Joe? Provide 2 steps. Now here we must be very careful. I want to bring a bit of business studies into this picture, into the picture now. If the person is not going to pay you, or you are aware that you cannot recover all the amounts, here this has been proven. This guy owes us, or he has defrauded the business. Some activities in other question papers, you'll be asked, you suspect. The question will say, you suspect that this person is stealing money from the business, or you suspect that a deposit of 30,000 was not made in the business. Then one learner will just respond and say, what internal control measures or what steps are you going to take against the person? Then you just say, I'm going to fire the person. You cannot fire somebody on suspicions. You are suspecting, you have not yet proved that. I want to bring a business studies into place. They are going to apply, they'll take you to CCMA. One of that you perform in business studies should come into play here. It will be unfair dismissal. You dismissed a person without hearing the side of the story. You might find that the check was there somewhere in the drawer, and that was your fault. You have already fired the person. CCMA will come hunting you. But we are saying, in this activity, we are not suspecting now. It has been proven, we have proof and we have evidence that these amounts were not yet deposited and these signatures were fraudulent. Now what do? You set up a disciplinary hearing for Joe to answer to the allegations. It is always important to get the side of the other side of the story. Now set up disciplinary procedures for Joe to come and respond to the allegations, or recover what is possible from his salary that is owing to Top Dog. Remember, this person is your employee. You are paying this person. You can say portion of not the whole salary, not the entire salary. In the Bible, they even say that thou shalt eat. You must know that also Joe, even though he has defrauded you, he must also eat. So portion of the salary should be deducted every month up to the month when the whole amount has been recovered. Then we are saying you are going to deduct portion of the salary on monthly basis until all the amount due to the business has been recovered. You institute legal actions against him if the cost of the legal action are likely to be less than the amount recoverable. If now you are getting resistance. When you approach the person, now you must go the legal route. You institute legal actions. But you must also be aware. He took 30, Joe took 30,000 in information number 4, 30,000. Then information number 8, he forged a signature on the 18,000 payment. Therefore, this person in total has defrauded the business of 48,000. Now, it will not be useful or wise for the business to say, this Joe is owing us, or he has defrauded the business 48,000. Then you take the legal actions, then the legal costs will amount to something like 100,000. This is not wise. You are going to spend 100,000 to recover 48,000. This is not a wise decision. Financially, it doesn't make sense. Therefore, only legal actions will be taken when we weigh the options. What is due to the business will be bigger than what we are going to spend on legal fees. Therefore, if that is the case, then we institute legal actions against you. But if what is owing us is far less than what we are going to spend on legal actions, then I'll advise you that you set up disciplinary hearing, you recover what is due from his salary. One can say, we terminate after we have recovered everything that is due to the business, we terminate his employment with the firm, or we fire him. Now we are setting. We have convinced ourselves. We have evidence that this person has defrauded the business of 48,000. Now you can fire the person. The person can go to CCMA, can go everywhere. You have evidence. But that must also happen after you have recovered what is due to the business. Because if you can fire the person, how is he going to pay you while being unemployed? Or one can say, you suspend Joe pending the investigation. You move him to another department. Because one can say, forgive and forget. You decide to forgive Joe, it's fine. But now you move him from other department where he's not going to repeat the very same mistake or fraudulent activities that he has performed in the past. Or one can say, you lay a charge against Joe at the police station and get a case number. There are a lot of things that you are going to say. There are a lot of things that you can do as part of trying to recover what is due to the business. I'll just go through them again. You set a disciplinary hearing for Joe to answer to the allegations. Or you recover what is possible from his salary that is owing to Top Dog. You institute legal actions against him. But now you must be aware, you must be careful that the must be less than the amount recoverable. You terminate his employment with the firm, you suspend him pending the investigation, or you move him to the other department. Lay a charge against him at the police station and get a case number. These are the steps that you are going to take. These are the steps that you are going to take in trying to recover what is due to the business. 2.4.2. Explain why the rule of prudence will be used in accounting for the fraudulent activities in the books and the financial statement. Now we are bringing in the gap principles. The business must regard these transactions in a pessimistic light, as there is no certainty that any amount will be recovered. We cannot say he has defrauded the business, so let it be. We are saying we are going to record this. It should be reflected, but in a very pessimistic manner. Because there is no guarantee, there is no certainty that these 48,000 that Joe has defrauded the business will be recovered. Or one can say the rule of prudence will dictate that a conservative approach in reporting profits be followed. We report our profits in a very conservative approach. Or maybe one can say it's fine. You just give us pessimistic approach, conservative approach. We know that we are going to regard this transaction in a pessimistic light, as there is no certainty that all the money will be recovered. Or we will dictate that the conservative approach be followed in reporting the profits of the business. Here, our dear learners, you must know the rule of prudence. Even if you can say the rule of prudence as it is, you have answered the question. Because what is needed here is that, are you aware of what does the rule of prudence say when things are like this? Even if you can give us the definition or the explanation of the rule of prudence, this will be correct. The 2.4.3, explain what was wrong with the procedures in the accounting department which led to this type of a fraudulent activity. Now, what was wrong? I said the hints will always be given in the question paper. The first statement in this question, it was not a decorating statement. We were told things that were not done properly and how they should be done to rectify this mistake. Now, this Joe is responsible for all vital activities relating to the receipts, to the writing of the books, to the deposits and the payments. Duties should be divided amongst employees in the business so that one employee serves as a check on another. I said if these activities were given